Hello and welcome to Gunner Studios. Today we're going to be making a Lego cape. First, go to Meca Bricks, Textiles, and choose the one that you'd like to use. I made mine brown. File, Export, then go to OBJ, and then click Export. Next, unzip the Meca Bricks file and also go to the Lego tutorial folder and open up the blend file that says Lego Guy. I'm going to Ctrl-Shift-S just to create a separate one. I'm going to call it Lego Cape. There we go, now it's copied. Then you want to import OBJ, downloads, and then go to the Meca Bricks folder that you downloaded. Now we have the cape imported. First off, I'm going to right click, shade smooth, tab, and then I'll do tries to quads and merge by distance. And I'll do 0.09. Once that's done, you can bring that up to the neck level. And I'm going to change the color to be brown. I'm also going to import a fabric texture. You can get hundreds of free PBR textures at Ambient CGI and also Polyhaven. It's all free. And they also have HDRIs and static meshes, so go ahead and check that out. So once I have that imported, I'm going to click on the cape again, tab, U, and then Q projection. And now you can see that's working great. So once I do that, click on the cape and then shift click on the mesh and then Control J. Next, hover over the cape and click L, then go to vertex groups and go to spine 03 and click assign. So once that's done, select all of this, Q, export, FBX, and then Lego to UE, untick bake animation, and I'm just going to call it Lego Cape. Next, come over to Unreal Engine, characters, create a new folder, and call it Cape Guy. Open that up, then right click, import, and then import Lego Cape. Make sure the import method is import normals and tangents, and then click import all. Then we'll go to the character 01, and I'm just going to switch this out with the cape guy. And if you try to put in the Lego face that you had before, you can see that it looks wonderful.
Bruh.
To fix that, we're going to go back to the Lego tutorial, Lego Guy, and you can see that there's some textures here. In the Lego tutorial folder in Lego Guy, you'll see that there's some textures, same textures as the Lego Guy in the Lego Guy blend file. Then you want to open up the textures for your guy right here, and you can see that the head textures are not the same. So what we want to do is right click and open with either GIMP or Photoshop or whichever one you have. I use GIMP. So with that opened up, I'm going to go to the texture that I have, and then I'll drag in here, and I want to set the opacity down so I can see what I'm doing, and do Shift S and then just get that as close as possible, and scale, and then I'm going to bring it in again so I can do the back. So opacity, Shift S, and then get that as close as you can. Next, I'm going to merge visible layers, then click O, paint, and then just paint in the rest of that. Then you can do Ctrl-Shift-E for export. I'm going to call this face, and then download this, and then you can download this to your file. And then it's the exact same for all of these. I'm going to right click on this one, open with GIMP, open that up, and then go to yours, drag that in, set the opacity, and then Shift S, and then drag that into the correct spot, set the opacity to 100%, Shift Export, and I'll call this Leg 01, and then I'll open up this one, and then drag this in here, Shift S, set the opacity down, and then you can export Leg 02, then I'll open up the waist, and then finally the body. And then up here I'm going to do Shift E, and then just erase this part over here. Then I'll click O, paint, and paint over that. Then I'm going to merge the visible layers, and then come up here, select by color, select the brown, and then Control B with this color still selected. You can fill that in, and then just paint in the rest. Then I'll come back into Unreal Engine. In the cape guy, I'm going to import, and then select all the ones that I created. Next, I'm going to open up the hips, head, and the legs. In the torso, I'm going to drag in the body, and then the head and the legs as well. Lego 2 is the left leg, and Lego 1 is the right leg. So now if you go back in here and change it out for the head, you can see that it's actually on backwards, so we'll need to go switch that. So clicking on the face, open with GIMP, and then I'm just going to come up to image, transform, and flip horizontally. Then export as face, replace, and then I'm going to click on the face and re-import. So now if you play, you can see the face is the right direction, the body is working, and if the legs aren't working, make sure that the left leg, the texture is on the right side, and the right leg, the texture is on the left side. It's a little confusing, but it works. So now that this is all set up, you can see that the sword and shield isn't working, and that's because we don't have the same sockets as the Lego mesh. So we'll need to open up the Lego skeleton, and then I'm also going to open up the Lego guy skeleton. So if these open up, we're going to need to add a couple of sockets, and I'm just going to select all these, Control C to copy, and then we're going to go to Spino 4, paste those, and then on hand L, I'm going to copy all of these, the bow, arrow, and shield hand, and that's on the left hand. Then I want to go to the right hand and copy sword hand. So now if we play, you can see that everything is working. Now the only thing left to do is to set up the cape. So I'm going to close out of these, and I want to go to the characters, cape, and then I want to open the skeletal mesh, and then go up to window and select clothing, and then just drag it off to the side. Then the next thing you want to do is select the cape, right click, and then create clothing data from selection. You can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it that. Click create. With that selected, right click again and apply clothing data. Once that loads up, you want to come up here, select the clothing data with the cape selected, and activate cloth paint. Next, we want to come down here, and I'm going to change the radius to 40, and the paint value, 100% means that it gets cloth physics, 0% means it stays still, static mesh. So I'm just going to go to 100 and paint some of this, and then I'm going to go a little bit in between just to add a little bit of a gradient. There you go, you can see that there's a gradient, and I might add just a little bit more of the static mesh. Next, if I deactivate the cloth paint, you can see that it's working.
6 hours later.
Alright, now you can see that the cape is working and attached to the character. And you can see that it goes through the mesh. I have no idea how to fix it. I've spent hours trying to figure out how to do it. I have no idea. This works for now, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.